Okay, several people have been asking about a previous video blog I did where I mentioned Padwork focus mitts and how I don't rate them and effectively called BS on them. And they've been saying, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. What about all people like Floyd Mayweather, who you reckon is a great fighter, one of the best ever? You always see him doing pads. What about this fighter? You see him doing pads. When you see clips of this one, this one, this one, this one, you see him doing pads. Yeah, you do. So what? First of all, I'll address the Floyd Mayweather one. You see him doing the fast pads. Unbelievable skills, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I remember a few years ago when all of a sudden it became fashionable, if you like, for everybody to learn fast pads. And there were courses and DVDs and people saying they'd teach you fast pads. Well, when it comes to boxing, I think your time's better spent learning how to fight than it is to do fast pads. When it comes to self-defense, your time is definitely better spent learning how to fight than it is to do fast pads. Don't you think that Floyd Mayweather put in a heck of a lot of time and effort into everything else that he did in his training as opposed to just fast pads? That's one point I needed to get across. Then people said, well, what about Mike Tyson? One of the best heavyweights ever. He did pad work. Yeah, he did. But when you look at his pad work, it was a specialized, systemized approach to pad work. The pad guy wasn't just standing there going 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, arms all over the place. There was a method behind it, and they were practicing certain things. They were drilling certain things. So there was a reason behind it and a solid training reason behind it. So in that case, that kind of pad work, if you like, is very different to the pad work you see from most people. Most people have got their hands out like this and they call 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. As a general rule, I know there's going to be some people who do them well, but let's analyze that for a moment. You're practicing striking, so you're practicing getting yourself in the right position on your opponent. In this case, it's the pad guy. So you want to get into the right position in terms of distance, timing, everything, to punch that guy in the face. So the pad guy stands there, you get ready, and then the pad guy goes like that. So now he's got 3 heads. The one you position to, the one for the jab, and the one for the cross. Now, I know people then say, well, people do move. Yeah, of course they do. But you should be focusing on the head of your opponent, not on where the pads are. So what happens is that you align yourself, let's say correctly, with the head of your opponent. Now the head's over here or it's over here. So you see a lot of times people, when they're doing pad work, their punches are going across and across where they're having to readjust incorrectly to where the focus mitts are. Because they may have aligned themselves correctly on the face, on the head of their opponent, the pad guy. But the pad guy's holding it out here. So they're doing all this, their body is getting in the wrong place. They're then teaching themselves to be in the wrong place to deliver their shots. And they're not understanding and learning and finding out where their power is. So when I say pads is BS, it's a massive general statement. Most pads is BS. There are some people, of course, that do good pad work, but it's very few and far between. Very, very rare. I see pad guys every single day at the gym, whether it's be for Thai boxing or normal boxing, and it's the same old stuff every time. It's 1, 2, boom, hold the pad out here. 1, 2, boom. And a couple of kicks, do a couple of knees, blah, blah, blah. Elbow, elbow. And the person doing the hitting is all over the shop. They're not learning in the correct fashion. Now, also, your pad guy has got to work with you in terms of your style of fighting. So, for example, if you're the kind of fighter that likes to be really long and loose, and you're throwing out jabs, feelers before you start to go to work, as an example, you don't want a pad guy calling sort of shots where everything's all in tight and all more square on and stuff like that, because you're looking for those long jabs. So your pad guy should be working that sort of movement for you and moving around as an opponent, and then holding the pad, putting the pad in the right place so you can practice the way that you fight. And this should be done at all different ranges and methods and ways that you actually fight, so that when you are in close, you can work the pads the way you would fight. Not working the pads where you're going over here where somebody's holding it, going hook, 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 hook. If you fight in close, the pad guy should be working you in close. All of those sort of things is what separates somebody who understands their fighter, understands their training, and people who just hold mitts. And you see it all the time. They hold them the same for everybody, regardless. They call out the same combinations for everybody, regardless. So they don't take into account the size, the shape, the fighting style, anything of their training partner or the person that they're teaching. So in my mind, that's why I call BS on pads. I'm not calling BS on the people who really, really, truly understand it and work it for their individual fighter. That's different. But every clip that you see, every clip I see before a UFC fight, when they go and they show a clip of them doing their boxing, and then they show a clip of them doing their Thai boxing or kickboxing, always the same stuff. And the pad guys are always holding it the same way. And it's never to optimize the striking capability of that fighter. So that's for high level sports fighting. For your self-defense, the same thing applies. You need a pad guy that's holding it for you, that's more realistic than like this. You know, if you're practicing a big right hand, straight right hand, you want the pad guy holding it right here, right by their head. And they want to be tilting their head a little bit and holding it here. So boom, you're getting used to the timing, the distance, the space of a real opponent in real time with somebody holding the pad here. Now that takes trust on the pad guy's part, because you might take a few in the face because somebody can't aim properly. And that's why you build up everything slowly and properly. So you do your shadows, do your heavy bag, heavy work, till you can actually hit a pad properly, if you're ever going to do pad work. But to my mind, forget the pads, do your shadows, do your heavy bag, and then spar. There's nothing beats that, because that is what it's all about. And you can do the same thing for your self-defense. And there's thousands and thousands of different types of sparring, right? So you've got to understand that as well. So there's 1,000,001 ways to sort out how to spar and practice little bits, little segments, little tiny bits of a fight, or a full open spar, whatever it may be. There's so many ways to spar, so many different methods. But anyway, I've kept going on for far too long here, so hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. More next time.